Hi, in this video I want to talk about animal totems and shape-shifting and the power that come with it from an African perspective. So oftentimes on YouTube or Facebook you'll see people, going to use those apps or those different tools that help you find what is your animal spirit, what is your animal totem, but there's not much substance to this exercise. While it is a good exercise to see what animal actually comes up and what animals you may be connecting with in different ways, oftentimes the context and the perspective is lacking from those apps or those process of assisting these tools, basically. So when you look into the Native Americans, you see that certain characteristics of certain animals or attributes you are given. For example, if you have a man that's very strong, he may be called, brown bear or black bear. There are certain attributes also that are associated with different tribes and different clans. Sometimes it is based on where the tribe is and what's more prevalent in the environment based on the animal that they are connecting with or they're using. And sometimes it may also just be characteristics that the individual has and the symbiotic relationship between that particular individual and the animal per se. So from the African perspective, really, when we're talking about totems, we are talking about an actual connection between an individual, a family, a community sometimes also, and specific animals. And so it is a lot more, a connection is a lot more material, that's a lot more dense, because not only do you have certain of the characteristic of this animal, but the individual that has a particular totem actually has some abilities and powers to communicate with the animal, to influence and manipulate the animal, to protect that animal as well. And it's a dual or a two-way interaction, because the animal also may come for help to and contact this particular individual. The animal can also come and warn you of certain things. The animal may observe certain things for you. You may be able to connect to the animals and have the ability to basically, let's say, use the animal's eyes to see what's going on very far away. You may be able to shift into the particular animal totem that you have. You may be able to do a certain number of things based on the relationship and the totem that you have. I think I've mentioned this in other videos as well, in terms of your bloodlines and what kind of powers you can get from your elders or your grandparents, or the person that detained that knowledge, that has acquired that knowledge, that was passed on that knowledge. And some of the most simplistic way of saying it, or some of the more mundane example, is people who have affinity with snakes, for example. Since childhood, they wouldn't be scared of snakes. Snakes will not bite them, however poisonous or what have you. You will see a child where the parents would be scared, and then the snakes will actually make sure that the child does not get hurt. And that I've seen this over and over again with different animals, and I witnessed that, and I've seen people who have these abilities with different animals, and this also runs in my family. But it's more about the relationship between the person and the animal. For example, if you have an affinity with scorpions, you'll be able to look at them and they will move away instead of stinking you or stinking somebody that's close to you. And oftentimes when you will have an incident in the village with a particular animal, before they actually try to kill the animal or do something negative, they will usually go get the person who has a totem, so that person can interact, assess the situation, and see how to best resolve it. And sometimes that person will actually get the animal to go away or to move away from the situation. And that is something that's well known. The symbiotic relationship is also that those animals can be guardians. They be guardians of the land where one person lives, and they will also protect that person from their childhood until the adulthood. And the sense is that the power is being passed down and passed on. Therefore, it is something that's infinite and perpetual, even though the particular individual is gone. And so you do have those different aspects that are much more stronger and that you don't necessarily choose. Like, for example, I know people whose part of the totem were, for example, snakes, and in their mundane life, they will say that they're really scared of snakes, but they keep having dreams with snakes. When they go somewhere, sometimes they see snakes and they just horrify. And then when you dig into it, you find out that this is actually the animal totem, even though psychologically they're scared of it. And even when you go to and you explore the reason with them why they're scared of this particular animal, a lot of it is partially due to the programming that they've got. When you watch TV, most of the time snakes are being seen in a very negative way. Some of them, it could be also experiences that have been in narrative that's been taught to them and told to them so that they start being scared. And sometimes, unfortunately, it is people who are aware that you have this power, that you have this affinity, that actually project some fears onto you so that you're never able to actually use them against them if a situation will arise. So this is something I've always been fascinated with since I was little, and I've always explored and learned from people who have this ability and witnessed this ability, and how much deeper it goes when we talk about a symbiotic relationship between the humans and the animal world. It's not uncommon. The type of totems vary depending on the area. You could be a gorilla, it could be Black Panther, it could be a lion, it could be scorpions, serpents, all kind of animals, including rats, including owls are one of them also. And so it's just infinite, the type of animal that individual will have as a totem, and the affinity that will build and the knowledge that we gain from working with these animals. Further up is also the fact that they do have the capability to shape shift. If you do read one of the books that I've referenced in one of my videos called Of Water and the Spirit by Malidoma Somé, he shares one of the experiences where he talks about a shapeshifter. And basically a family totem is not as clear, but if you read the book, you basically identify where it is in the book. And so these are just one experiences, but all over Africa you will see that, you will witness that, you would, when you incline in different tradition. I've seen this in Senegal, I've seen it in Congo, I've seen it all over the continent. But beyond that, even as Black people all over the diaspora, and people who are connected with people who are melanin dominant, I've also seen that with people who are from the Pacific Islands, where their totem could be a shark, their totem could be a medusa, their totem could be a jellyfish, because they are surrounded by water and because those are the animals that are in the environment. So this is why it's often tied to your environment and the connection that has been established between your elders, your ancestors, and those particular animals. And I think because I haven't seen anything discussing that on YouTube, and I think it's important also to shed light on different traditions and to maybe enrich everybody in terms of the perception that you may have on certain things, and especially people who are from the diaspora, because this is part of your legacy, this is part of your abilities. You need to know that you have these abilities in your DNA, it's part of you, and for anyone else, you can also explore this and create those affinities. I'm planning to do another video on traditions and how to create your own tradition if you don't have this in your family or your bloodline or what have you. This is why it's so important that we are at a time where you can basically shape your destiny, you can explore everything you want to explore. This is really the information age for you to shape your destiny and for you to gain the knowledge you are seeking, because it is just at the tip of your fingers now. It's so much more open about what we can do, what we want to know, how we want to explore ourselves, how we want to grow and evolve. So why not just get together, all of us, and share and explore these different perceptions and this different form of energetical and spiritual magic. All of these connection that we have with the environment we live in, with this earth. And so totems are very important. They shape your life, they shape your personality, they help you connect with the earth and help you see the bigger picture, what's broader than you. When you manage to connect with a herd of a particular animal, you will feel different in terms of certain mundane activities that you take part in. And that has nothing to do with being a vegetarian or a vegan or anything like that. It really has to do with the connection that you build with this particular animal. And sometimes, for those of us who have more responsibilities, it could be several animals with whom you're connected and with whom you are called to interact, who will call on you and who you'll be able to call on to when they need be. And of course, even aside from having totems, if you don't have a totem, it's no big deal. You can still have an array of interaction with animals, and you can also develop different characteristics. And animal can still come to you and give you messages and support you in many type and many forms. It's just that the totem, it's something that's at least from our tradition, it's also something to be looking forward to. It's something that you honor as well, because down the line someone went to acquire that knowledge. Down the line many people came before you and nourished and nurtured that relationship with these particular animals and with nature in general. So I think our greatest gift sometimes is just to look at the environment where we live in, to look at the nature around us, the trees, the type of flowers, the type of animals, to pay attention to what animals are coming to us, the type of message that they may be giving us when we are awake or when we are sleeping. And never stop exploring to find out what affinities you have and what affinities you can develop if you want to.